Hello, it's Wendy from Indigo Blue Team with a quick video of a journal page. I saw Kay using flitter glue and flake and the Lollipop tree stamp on Hobby Maker a little while ago. This is a really old stamp, but it's a fabulous one of my favourites, I think. So I thought I'd get it out and have a play. And I'm also trying to push myself out of the comfort zone of colour palettes as well. I tend to go for the sort of autumnal colours. So I thought today I'd try and do something that's a little bit more pastel. Not really what I usually go for, but I'm trying to do something different. So I've got out Peppermint Tea and Townhouse Teal and Daffodil. So those three are going to be my main colours. I thought I might introduce a sort of a pinky colour. I'm not sure whether I will or not. I've got out Mulberry Bush and this is far too dark to go with those. So if I do use it, I'll probably mix it with some gesso to make it a lot paler. I've put some gesso out on my mat just in case. So let's see how we get on. I've got some Peppermint Tea and Townhouse Teal all ready to go. So the first decision is, do I just paint it on or do I use a brayer and brayer it on? You'll notice that I've put some masking tape around my page. That's just to give it a really nice, hopefully clean edge and sort of frame it so that when it's finished it's got that that nice edge to it. We'll see how that works. So paint on with the brush, or I think I'll go with the brush to start with and see how that looks. I want it fairly clean, and that's that brush has had a different colour paint on it, so I might, oh gosh, and the end's dropped off. Oh, don't you just love it? Just look at this, let me show you before I've even started. Marvellous, huh? So I think that brush is going to get put to one side for now, and we'll start with a different one. Don't let anybody kid you that these videos are all rehearsed and smooth. They're not. It's see it as it is, I'm afraid. Right, let's get some paint on here and we'll just put some in different areas. A bit of that green. I'm not too worried if it looks a bit splodgy, because by the time we've done and we've stamped and put some stenciling over the top, it'll look fine. So far so good. Just getting those edges where that tape is so that it really is a straight edge when we take it off. Right, so I've got some blue and green there going on, a bit of blue over there, and maybe a bit of green on top of that blue there. I can come in and stamp with those colours as well. Okay, so I'll wash that brush. And I'll just give that a quick blast of heat to dry. Right, ready for the next bit. I'm going to get some clean sponge. And using a couple of stencils, add a little bit of extra. So I've got this leaf stencil and these hearts. So I think I'm going to start with these hearts and using gesso on my sponge. Just going to sponge through in a couple of places. Three places. Quite like the purple masking tape actually. It sort of fits the colour scheme, but that won't be staying. There we are. So we've got some hearts, and then I'm going to go in with the, I'm going to use the same colour paint, sort of, so it's tone on tone. Let's dry this gesso off first. Maybe I'll try some of the yellow. So this is Yellow Submarine. Again, just a little bit on my sponge. I don't want it too heavy so that it splodges everywhere. Famous last words, here goes. Just lift that corner to see what kind of impression we've got. Oh, there we are, that's okay. And I'm layering this stencil slightly over the top of the gesso hearts that I just did. And the other stencil I've got is, not stencils, yeah, I have got a stencil. They're both called the same actually. This one's Tasty Textures. I quite like this. It's got all sorts of different things on it. But there's also a stamp set called Tasty Textures, which gives you lots of options for adding, as it says, texture to your piece. So I'm going to use the stamp, I think. And let's have a look. I think I might use some of these dots. And I might use some of these sort of irregular bits here. And I want to stamp using the paint. So we'll have a little bit more of the peppermint tea out. Just spread it out a bit. And I'll take the stamp. I'm just going to do it with my fingers. I don't want to do it too much. So I'll come down here and turn my piece around. It's quite subtle, but it'll be fine. I'll put that straight into a water bath when I'm done. And same with the Townhouse Teal. Let's pick some up with the stamp. And in we go. I always migrate down the table and I forget that only this bit is actually in focus on the video, so apologies for that. There we are. That's good. And what I also want to do is to put some lines on, but again, I'll dry that layer off. Right, for the lines, I'm just going to use an old credit card thing, Tesco club card in this case, and I'm going to do these in white, I think, to echo this. So I've got the gesso on my mat, I'm just going to pop a little bit on the edge of that card and just try and keep them relatively straight. I'm not too worried about doing stuff in the middle, although I might just put a little bit there. It'll be underneath where we're going to do the flitter glue and the tree. I think that's enough. And dry this. We need this absolutely dry now before we put any flitter glue and flake anywhere near it. So it might be that I'll leave this to dry and come back to it in an hour or so. So I'll see you then. So we're back for the next bit. This is as dry as I think it can be, and we're ready to do the flitter glue and the flake. So I've got my stamp on an acrylic block, and I'm going to put some of the flitter glue on the sponge. I might need to take the top off this, and could probably do with cleaning the nozzle. I'll get some out with a palette knife or the end of a brush. There we go, that's plenty. So I'm going to work that into the sponge, essentially making my own little glue pad. I'll have a bit more. And I can put this on my stamp and it'll stay sticky for quite a while. Also, if I were doing quite a few things, I've got a little saucer thing that I could just put it glue side down on here, and that sort of stops the air getting to it, and then that will keep it okay to use for, you know, a good session of crafting. I'm not saying it'd still be okay the next day, I don't know, but certainly if you've got a few things to do, you can be using it. You don't have to replenish the glue every single time. So I'll just pop that out of the way. Right, so I'm going to ink essentially up my stamp. And this is really strong. those edges. Rubbish technique on my part. There we go. And this will really grab onto the card, so I don't want to let it sit on there for too long. It's just almost like a make contact and lift off. So I want this in the middle-ish there. So down that goes, press it on, and listen to that. That's made good contact, I think. Now I've got some paper, I'll put an extra piece down, I think, to catch any bits of flake. And this one's Chariots of Fire, it's a gold one. And I'm just going to give my hand a bit of a wipe, because it's got a little bit of glue on it before we start, and the glue will just absolutely stick to my finger. The flake will absolutely stick to my fingers if I go ahead with gluey fingers. See, it's already done it. So just give them a quick wipe. And then put the flake on, these gorgeous big bits of flake. And there's no hurry to do the gluing, because that will stay receptive to whatever and stay sticky until you've actually put something on top of it. Look at the size of that, that's absolutely fabulous. This is why I love these indigo blue flakes, and that's why they're called mega flakes, because they really are. See those leaves starting to get defined. Okay, I think that's flake on all the bits of the stamp. And so then I'm just going to take my scoochie and rub away the excess quite gently to start with. And then burnish it. Any extra bits can go back in. This is a bit of like dust really, but it's all good to use. Out of the way, and back to this. And before I take the edges off, I'm wondering if it needs anything more. I'm not going to print a sentiment or anything on here. I'm going to leave that, and then I can think about it, and if I want to use it for the front of a birthday card, or if I just want to bob it in as a journal page, which is what it was originally intended to be, I can put words and things on later. I'm a bit worried about this yellow and wondering whether or not I need any more yellow, but I don't think I'm going to. Maybe I might just put some yellow. No, I'm going to leave it and walk away. So that's the lollipop tree in the middle. Let's have a look when we take the edges off. And I always, when I'm taping, I do both long sides and then I do the short sides over the top. So in theory it should be easy to pull off. And there we have it. I think that would actually look quite pretty in a little frame up on the wall, so I might even do that. So that was really simple, painted background, a bit of stenciling, a bit of stamping, and then I used the Lollipop tree and the Mega Flake Chariot of Fire for the stamp on the top. Hope you liked that. I enjoyed that. That was good fun. Nothing taxing, nothing that anybody can't do, and I look forward to seeing anything that you make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.